Well, Jeff, how many languages do you speak?
I mean, to recounting, like, I speak 2 words in many languages. I speak more than 10 words in maybe 2.
Okay, so you speak one language is the answer
There
to
we go. I
that
speak 1
question.
language. That's
You
right.
speak one language. Well, you may have heard of Duolingo, as many people have, which is a popular learning app to learn other languages. And they have released a bold new strategy for implementation of AI, announcing that they will be drastically reducing their investment in their contracting workforce and actually shifting a lot of that work over to AI to actually handle the translations and the education, the lesson, all of that type of thing. So the question here is this a bold strategy or is it a cautionary tale? Obviously, lots of mixed feelings about this. What they've said so far is that since late 2023, they've cut about 10% of their contractor workforce, adopting AI tools, as I mentioned, instead. They are also not just using AI in sort of the product development cycle, obviously using it for translations and training and that type of stuff, but they've also been using it in their HR processes. So for things like recruiting, performance evaluations, all that type of stuff, they've been doing a lot of automation work using AI in those processes as well. And then they've been also using it to develop new features, like a video call type of feature where you can actually practice speaking with AI characters, which I think is a strict win for their product. But again, comes at the cost of what was previously done by humans and by contractors. So what do you think about this?
I actually loved I liked I mean, I think this is the way the world is going, but I thought this was so much smarter in many ways. There's an internal memo from the CEO, Louis Van On, that was published that kind of described this very similar to the memo from Toby Lutke that we talked about, I think, a couple weeks ago. I thought the smart timing thing from Louis' perspective was that he announced a whole bunch of increased capabilities in the product that were driven by this shift. Specifically, they doubled the number of language courses to 100, added 148 new courses. That's pretty dramatic. And my understanding is it's mostly not new languages that they're adding. I mean, there aren't that many languages in the world. There are a lot, but not can add 150 new ones. But the pairing of like, oh, I currently speak Italian and I want to learn Japanese. Well, that's different that I speak English or I speak French or I speak Chinese and I want to learn Japanese. And they were able to kind of go and use AI to translate and generate the content to actually create like double the number of language courses on the platform. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. And it points to not just reducing the workforce, but when I take out the human scaling element to what I can do, what becomes possible in my product, which I think is a much more exciting way to think about the possibilities of AI. So I thought announcing this with pairing it with look at all these cool new things we could do that we could never do before was a smart way to roll it out and actually get some excitement around this direction.
I think that's true. And I think this actually ties really neatly into the conversation we were just having about the White House task force, where this is a perfect example of we still need humans. We just need them working on different sorts of problems. And so, how do we future proof our workforce and train people to do the new tasks that they will be needing from prompt engineering and more creative idea generation? Than some of the sort of more historical tasks that were more just translate and, follow a checklist and this type of stuff that now is highly automatable. So I think that this is like a good thing for people to be thinking about in their organization as well. All the people who are working in your organization today, they've already gone through the education system and the training. So now it's sort of beholden on you to figure out what are the new skills that your company is going to need from folks in 5 or 10 years, and can you be home growing those skills now, because it's not like there's going to be some magic like influx of talent that's trained on all of this stuff. We have to sort of homegrown some of this stuff. And so investing in our training and capabilities of our own workforce and how to use some of these tools to maximize our business objectives and outcomes, I think is a really important thing to be thinking about.
Yeah, I was just talking to a team about better integrating AI into their workflows just yesterday. And I think one of the messages I tried to leave with them was to do this well, you got to accept that there are going to be failures, there's going to be mistakes, and we got to be tolerant of that because we're all trying to figure out how this is. But if you want your workforce on the cutting edge, you've got to teach them, and then you've got to go, yeah, sometimes you're going to like get the wrong tool, you're going to use the wrong prompt, it's not going to go perfectly right, but the benefits that accrue from getting it mostly right are far better than the costs that you'll experience if you just put your head in the sand and ignore that it's happening. So better to be out in front of it in this kind of way, I think, and try and be on the leading edge of figuring out how to do it effectively. I think there's a lot of opportunity for individuals to advance their careers that way by getting smart about how they can use these tools to do new things, and for companies to encourage their employees to do that.
Absolutely.